Hi everyone.
Hi.
You're welcome in this meeting as we did schedule it last time. And so my name is Jean Monengenzi, and we just going to talk more about anthropology terms. Uh, Most of the time, we're going to discuss about the significance of um, food in different cultures and their rituals or traditions that are based on that food. So before we start, I would like you to tell you an agenda of the meeting. It means different topics that we're going to talk about in this meeting. So first of all, we'll be talking about anthropology terms. As you know that we don't have 6 terms, so everyone will be talking about 2 terms, as well as give us example that show us really in order to understand those terms. So we'll be also talking about menus of different cultures that we did make research about, and then after everyone has 2 menus that he's going to share with us, to share his findings with us. So after, he will be just asking us some questions to see whether we did take something about what he came to say. So after, we'll be talking about food research. It means we'll be talking about food blogs that we did make a research about. It means food that we, in our culture, that we made a research about, and we'll be discussing more about what we found. And after, we'll be talking about commonalities and differences of those cultures that we did analyze, and then we'll be concluding. So that's the agenda of the meeting.
Yes.
So I think now we can start, and I would like to start by telling you some terms that the terms that I did um, studied about or learned about, and those terms are enculturation and ethnocentrism. I'm going to start by enculturation. Enculturation, that's the way someone socialize with his or her culture. It means that's the way someone become familiar with traditions and rituals and activities as well as actions which are being done in his or her culture. For example, we know that in Rwanda normally we used to shake hands and give hugs to people that we meet for the first time, or someone who comes to visit you at home. You need to shake her hands or his hand so that you may show her or him respect, as well as our custom. That's the Rwandan custom. So that's something which comes like which becomes familiar with us, so that you may do that even unwillingly because you know it's very important, and that's something that you have been exposed to for the long time, even when you have been born. So another term is ethnocentrism, and ethnocentrism means the way someone analyze other cultures by taking his own as the highest one. It means he do just judge others' culture by not basing on their values as well as their beliefs. For example, let me tell you, like, I want to go like to study abroad in America or somewhere else, and in Rwanda we used to wear like clothes which cover the whole body. So you cannot find someone wearing a bikini and passing by the road or on the street. So imagine some like when I go in America and I find someone like a lady passing by and she's wearing a bikini. So I may start judging her, like how does that woman dare to wear a bikini? Like why she's passing in the road, or she's meeting with many people, even not on the beach or somewhere else. So I mean, just start by judging her without basing on her values, culture, as well as beliefs. So that's saying that our culture, our one culture, to wear things which cover the whole body is a good thing rather than wearing bikini. That's how I can make judgment of others' culture by taking mine as the higher or the highest one. So I think I'm done with those two terms, and I would like to come you to discuss more about your terms, so that we can have common understanding of those terms. Frame, I think we can go.
Thank you so much, Jamune. My name is Ephraim Chiza. I'm also a part of this meeting. As you've just said, you're going to discuss, and you took us through the outline of what we're going to discuss today. And I think everyone who is around is going to enjoy the discussion of today. Without dwelling much, let me take this opportunity to explain to you about the two terms that I studied and what I learned about them. Those two terms are subcultures and rituals. Let me start with subcultures. Subculture is the part of the culture which is unique from other parts of that culture. Let's take example. You may find people living in the same area. Maybe it may be a sector or a cell. There's many people living there, but there's a part of those people who have different things that they do which may make them unique from others. Those people, they normally have their wearing style, they have their food, they have their believings, and they have different things that they do and other people cannot do. That's what we call subculture. If I take the example which is near, there's Rwandan people who stay in Congo. For them, when they are preparing a posho, they don't put salt and oil, so they eat it as it is. That's the subculture of Rwandan culture. It means it is a part of the culture, but they have something that they do which is very unique to the rest of the people. And another term is rituals. Rituals, these are things or the terms. This term means the things that you do more often, which comes more often in your life, which people does more often in your life, and it happens for the people in a certain culture. Let's say, let's take an example of people who are living in northwest of Rwanda. They normally celebrate the harvest every end of the year, which takes them, collects them what they have harvested, they put them together, they cook, and then they share. That's what we call rituals. It is something that happens in your life more often. Yeah, that's what I can say about it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing with us your terms, and Patrick, I think you can go on, yeah, as well.
Thank you. As you mentioned, I'm Patrick Nshizilongo, and also I'm part of this group, and I'm part of the meeting as well.
Yeah.
So the terms that I looked at, they are symbol and cultural activity. Starting with symbol. Symbol is something that represents, that is used by a group of people to represent something else. So maybe it would be better if we give a live example. Are you both Kepler students?
Yes, of course we are.
Yeah, as you can see, you just showed your thumbs up, which is this thumb. You just use it to represent something else, which is you are showing me that you agree with what I asked. So in different areas, you see there are different people who use different symbols to represent something else. Yeah. For the cultural relativity is the way people avoid to judge others' culture based on their own. So if I'm Rwandan and I'm moving to maybe Europe, then I see some cultures, I start judging them to my culture. That's for the cultural relativity. You don't judge the others' cultures based on your own. Rather, you just judge their culture based on their values, their beliefs, and their rituals. Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, thank you for sharing with us your terms, and I think now we can jump on menus that we did and discuss more about findings that we found after making research. So, as I said before, we're going like to start by everyone is going to tell us his two menus, and after we just ask us some questions to see whether we did say with something about what she will become to say. So I think we can start by I can start by telling you some about some findings that I did find after making the research on my menus. So I have made a research on two menus as well, and those are Hindu wedding culture and Pennsylvania Dutch cuisine. So I'm going to start by telling you more about Hindu wedding. So in Hindu wedding, they do have different food that they value most, and which even have many rituals and traditions that are based on those foods. So, for instance, during wedding in Hindu, they use coconut, a fruit called coconut, and that fruit is used to represent the sign of prosperity, is it has a symbol of prosperity in the wedding. So rituals and traditions which are based on that food is that during the wedding, the mother and the bride need to give the coconut fruit to the groom as a symbol of prosperity or a wish of being wealthy as a married couple. So there is also other kind of foods such as cumin seeds is a paste that they make from cumin seeds crushed with the sugar, and that paste have a symbol of bitterness and sweetness of relationship. So the rituals as well as traditions associated to that food is that during the wedding, the groom and the bride they just bring the paste into the betel leaf, and the groom as well as the bride put that betel leaf on each other's head as the sign of bitterness and sweetness. That's ritual associated to that food. And also there is another food which is rice, and which also have a symbol as well as rituals and traditions associated to it during in within Hindu wedding culture. So it means during the wedding, people attended that wedding need to take rice. The rice is colored, and they throw them on the married couple as the sign of sustenance and dominance in the relationship. And afterwards, the married couple also needs to throw to each other rice, and someone who it means among them between both, someone who throw most much rice on the other one, is the one who is going to stay a long time in a relationship. I think that's what is associated to the Hindu culture. And I'm going to talk about other menu that I did. Then after I'll be asking some questions. I think you'll not be going to mess up or forget about what I thought about. Yeah. So the other menu as well, as I say, is Pennsylvania Dutch cuisine. And in this culture, there are also different foods which they value most and which have different symbols as well as rituals and traditions. Among them, there are food which are called rams and hackberries with asparagus. So they have like tough tongues to pronounce. You need to be patient. So this type of food is mostly important to people in Pennsylvania because they are the ones which are mostly consumed or eaten by people who are poor. And this is because people who are poor, they need to be creative and much critical thinkers to find something to eat. So all those foods, as I say, rams, asparagus, and hackberries, those are glasses that they find into somewhere in the spaces, I don't know, in the forest maybe. And according to being creative, they do find something to eat. So there is also what we call gumbis, and this type of food also, which is consumed by people in Pennsylvania, and which has much importance because it is called even one pot dish food. It means this is a food that they do prepare to share together, and they eat them in the pot, within a pot. It means they don't put it on the plates, but they do just eat that food with their hands without having even forks, without using forks, and being together is a symbol of having fun and being together. So also there is a last food which is hazen pepper. I don't know how to pronounce the term. Is very also yeah, strange term. And also in rabbit rabbit braid in wine. So it means rabbit like meat that they prepare with wine. So this is also important food in Pennsylvania culture, and this is mostly the food that is consumed by people who are rich. It means people, as we saw, that people who are poor they consume those kind of grasses, as we saw before, and those ones who are rich they consume these hazen pepper and rabbit braised in wine. And most of the time, these food, as I said, are the ones which are consumed by people who are wealthy. So I think those are my findings about my menus. So I think now I can ask you some questions to see whether you did remain with something about what I came to say.
Right.
Yeah. So the first question is, what are the important foods and their symbols in Hindu culture? So one can use
Okay. If I remember well, you've just talked about the rice that they are using. The most important food that they value is rice, and they are using that rice most in the wedding ceremonies. It means, if I can remember well, they take that rice, and first of all, they take rice, and the couples have to throw to each other, and to show the one who is throwing much rice to another, to show that he's going to stay in a relationship for the long time.
Yeah.
That's what I can remember from what you have just said.
Yeah, thank you for the question and the response. So, and another question is about the Pennsylvania culture, and I would like to ask one of you among you, how do you think people in Pennsylvania valued gumbis? Like, why do you think gumbis are the most valued food in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, thank you. If I remember well, you talked about different food that they value most to
Yes.
be important, like grass and gumbi, as you mentioned.
Yes.
For the gumbi, what I remember that you said is they are valued to be of great importance because of their culture and the rituals associated with gumbi. Gumbi is one of the food that shows prosperity and sign of wealth for the Pennsylvania Dutch people. This is because they use it by sharing together,
Yes.
sitting together, and they share, so that once they are at home, they share the gumbi as well as other other products. So gumbi is one of the food that shows sign of prosperity, and it is used to enhance the unity while they are sharing it.
Yeah, thank you so much, because really gumbis are the ones which are used in order to share together and having fun, yeah, among people in Pennsylvania. So thank you for paying attention on my menus findings, and I think they were interesting. So I think that we can also go to the other menus, and you can just start by telling us what you found in your research. So Ephraim, you can go on and tell us more about that.
Thank you so much for the just short findings that you've shared with us. They are very interesting, and it's very nice to learn about the cultures of different people and what they value most compared to ours. And for me, I'm going to talk about two food and cultures. It is one which is tailgating at football game, at American football game, and another is tailgating portrait, which is taking place in the Pacific Northwest. Let me start with the tailgating portrait. On this time, one family among the families in their culture, we are given the chance to organize and host different people from different places. He had to host them by preparing enough food for them to share. For that matter, people were given that chance to prepare. They were the people who were considered as rich people because it needed them to have much money to prepare it. By that time, they used it to share different food. They are the foods that they preferred to share. Those food are fishes and meat. They considered that as a sign of prosperity, having well-being of the families. In that period, there are rituals which are attached to that food. They used that food to share and enjoy different events in their culture. For example, let me take an example of what they are celebrating. Maybe it could be a childbirth, or a son's marriage, or a lady's first mense. When the lady is reaching on the adult age, she goes to the menstruation period, and then they have to inform the other people, and they come, they celebrate that their lady is now becoming adult. She can be married by then. That's what they considered as what brought them together and share that kind of food. Those whale's meat, they got it from the seas and the lakes. They got there, they hunted it, and they come, they prepared food which could serve many people in that village. So the person who were not able to host those families could not be given the time and opportunity to prepare for them, because they knew that people could eat, and the rest of the food, people could take the rest of the food to their home. So it was the sign of showing that, first of all, they are preserving the culture of the ancestors, and they are showing the sign of togetherness, and showing people that they are together. They still have that beliefs in their culture. Let me go to another menu, which is tailgating at football game. When I talk about football game, it is not the game that we are seeing every day. It is the American football game. That was prepared. People could collect everything from their home. They could collect food, they could collect the material that they can use, and they collect all of those, they go to the football pitch. But before the game starts, they gather outside of the stadium and park their car, where they could share different food. But what they considered much as important food was grilled meat. Everything which were consumed there were something which is grilled.
Yeah.
There were food, wines, and water which were taken at that time. People could gather together in the parking and share the food that they had, and people were able to bring their CDs which has different musics, and they play by that time. So they wanted to show that they remember people who were poor in that period. It means people were not able to collect that food, were not stopped to come to enjoy with others. So you could come even you don't have anything, but you share with the rest of the people there, to show that it is one community and they share the togetherness of their culture. People shared different things, like they could meet. Some people were taking like 1 year without meeting, so they could have time to meet and talk about their life in that village. And by that time, they got enough time to discuss about people whom they can help in the village. And then after that, they could take time and watch the game, and after they can go home. Now, as I started by saying that, I would like to ask you just two questions so that you can remember what I've been talking about, and I can get to know if you've catched something from what I've been talking about.
Yeah.
I would ask that what could be the big reasons of tailgating or having that football game?
Yeah, thank you for the question as well as the discussion that you came to share with us. And I think tailgating football game was the reason why it happened was having fun, sharing, showing togetherness, and also preserving as well as maintaining ancestors' uh, customs or culture. So I think that's what I did catch about from what you came to say.
Right. Another question: why do they value portrait in the Northwest?
I think they value them because of the rituals attached to them. That is, once they were being used for celebrating the birth for young babies, the menses for ladies, the first mens for the lady. So this was to show that maybe this, if there is a newborn, they could celebrate and share together with other people. This also was kind of showing the togetherness and unity for their population, and that's why they value it most.
Okay, thank you for the answers that you have given me, and thank you for your kind attention.
Yeah, thank you to Ephraim. And I think we are having really a good, interesting, and exciting discussion. And really, our findings are very interesting. So, we remain with two menus, and I would like to welcome Patrick to share with us finding he did find after making research about different cultures.
Yeah, thank you for the interesting discussion and the findings that you were sharing to us, you both.
Yeah.
For me, I did the research on two menus, which is one is Hawaiian poi, another one is Japanese rice. So I'm going to start with Hawaiian poi. For the Hawaiian poi, these are poi is the steamy food that comes from the taro roots. There are some taro roots. Then they just take them out. Then they cool them. So it is like bearing them, so that they can have something that is steamy. So this is a very great important food for the Hawaiian people in the Hawaiian island. Some of the reason as why it is of great importance there is that it has sustained their ancestors who have lived there for the first time. People who reached there for the first time, they had no other ways of getting food or something, but they had a chance of getting those taro, and they used taro roots to get the poi, which was a great food for them. Another reason as why it is of great importance, basing on their rituals, is that while they are sharing at home, they use those poi to share at home, and if they have guests, because there are many people who come there to visit the Hawaiian Islands. So once people come there, they have a chance to get access on the poi. So Hawaiian people use the poi to welcome the guests and give them the poi. Another reason is that they are trying to keep the culture for their ancestors by even encouraging Hawaiian people who moved out of their islands to even keep the culture of eating poi, so that they can keep their ancestral cultures.
Yeah.
And it is used, they are sharing them to enhance the unity while they are sharing the poi. For the poi, while bearing it, there are some rules and regulations that they normally see as the part of their rituals. you are not supposed to bear the poi while having some wound on your cut wounds on your finger points or on your hands. For the women, you are not supposed to bear while you are having the hair. Just you need to tie it back so that to keep the poi clean. Those are some rules and regulations for them while bearing the poi. So that's it about the Hawaiian poi.
Yeah.
I can continue with Japanese rice. I made a research on Japanese rice about the rituals attached to it. Rice is of great importance to Japanese due to many reasons. Rice is the only food that you are not supposed to get a meal while there is no rice. For the Japanese, if there is no rice, then you don't have meal. Even if you can be having any other food, but while there is no rice, you don't have meal. Those are their cultures. For their language, it is called Gohan. So every morning, every afternoon, every evening, they are greeting each other. While they are greeting each other, they just speak about rice. They just speak about rice. There are some industries in Japan that are related mostly to rice. So you see that they are having high value. They value high the rice. Another thing is that for the past period, Japanese lived in a gathered place where they have first to cultivate the rice on the certain land, then they could shift, and then it will be a place to live. Other rituals associated to the rice is when they are going to plant the rice, they just do it in one day, all places. They just prepare the land where they will plant it, then they just wait for one day to plant. That day of planting the rice, they also prepare some rice to share after those activities. That's why you may understand that they value most the rice. So as I mentioned, for the Japanese, if you don't have rice on the table, then you don't have meal.
Yeah.
So I can wind up by those points, but before I would like to ask you some questions so that I can see that maybe you got some points from these findings. I would like to ask you if someone of you can tell me the rituals associated to rice for the Japanese.
Thank you. A ritual that I can remember associated with Japanese rice. First of all, it is that if they are greeting each other every morning when they wake up, they mention the term rice. It means rice is something that they speak most in their culture. Another thing is they use this rice most in the wedding ceremonies, and the rice could show the sign of wealth and the prosperity of the people in that culture. It means if someone is preparing food on the table, he or she must prepare rice as the best food that Japanese put in their mind as the very best food for their culture.
As you mentioned, rice was when they are sharing the rice, it is a sign of unity and togetherness, as you just mentioned. Another question is, I would like to ask if you can tell me the importance or values that Hawaiians give to poi.
I think I can respond to that question.
Yeah.
I remember that you mentioned the Hawaiians value most poi because of the sustenance it has to their ancestors, who, like people who did come to live in Hawaii Island for the first time. The other thing is that they do value poi because poi is used when they are sharing with guests and in order to welcome those guests or visitors who come in at their home. And one last thing that I can talk about is that poi also is used to enhance unity within themselves. It means people in Hawaii, they use poi is to enhance or improve unity. That's what I did catch or came to say.
Thank you all for your answers.
Yeah.
It sounds like you got something from the findings that I shared with you.
Yeah, thank you too. So I think we can jump on commonalities and differences. But before we jump on those commonalities and differences, there are also field logs. It means field researches that we did make about different foods in the culture. So I think we can start by those field searches, and then after we'll be discussing about commonalities and differences about different cultures that we did have made research about. So I think I can start by telling you findings about my field research as well as field log that I made. So I have made a research about milk and milk in Rwandan culture, how milk is perceived by people in Rwanda, how milk is valued, the different significance as well as importance of milk, activities as well as traditions and rituals associated to milk in Rwanda. That's what I did make a research about. So I interviewed someone called Francois, and he's an old man, and I did find him at his home, and he has even cows. So he's someone who knows many things about milk in Rwanda. So so I'm going to make a summary about what I did find and about the responses that I get from the old man, Francois. So what I get from him is that milk is really the most valued food, if I can call it, because milk shows or like have a sign of wealth, as well as like, because milk comes from cows, and when you have milk, it means that you have cows and you are a wealthy person in Rwanda. So that's why people really value milk in Rwandan culture. And also, milk is used in different things and has different significance as well as importance in Rwandan culture. Most of, like for instance, milk is used as medicine. Like you can use milk when you are sick to cure something. Like for example, when you have swallowed poisonous things, you can you can just take milk, and the milk can help you to become better because of the poison that you have consumed. Also, milk is okay. I remember an interesting thing that Francois mentioned when I was talking to him. Like he said, it was not a road in Rwanda, not in this Rwanda now, because currently milk you can buy, and even you can go on the market and you even miss milk or lack milk while you have even money. So in Rwanda, they didn't use to sell milk. It was not allowed because milk was there. Everyone, like, you can find, you would like find that in every home you can find a cow and people are sharing milk together and having milk. So milk also, another thing that was associated to milk is that milk was given to people who were sick, like people who could not find milk, like people who could not have cows. Others would come with milk and give them because they are sick or they have lost their people. Like if you have someone and he passed away or she passed away, others, your people in the village may come at your home bringing milk as to console or comfort you. The other thing that I remember is that they use milk to reward a mother who begets a baby. It means that when you were a mother and you have a baby born, people would come and bring milk to you as to like congratulate you or showing compliments to what to the action of begetting. So I do remember also the other rituals associated with milk. Milk also was used, even it is used now during weddings, and it means it has a sign of worthy, as I said before, and it is even used in the wedding as to show or wish people to have always milk in their. There is a recipient that they use to put in milk in Rwanda. It is called igisabo. So people just bring milk and they give to the married couple to wish them to have always milk in their recipients, let's say, in their house at home, as a sign of being wealthy and prosperous.
Okay, thank you, Jean Monnet, for sharing with us the research you did. It was very interesting, and we are happy to understand and know about how people value milk in their culture. Let me take this opportunity also to take you through the research I did. The research I did, it was the whole preparation of the drink called ichigaje in our society. Ichigaje was, I conducted the research in some places in Gasabo district where I met a woman called Ange. Ange took me through the whole process of preparation of ichigaje, and she told me all material that I used to prepare ichigaje. And the good thing that I learned from there is ichigaje cannot be prepared for the single day. If they want to use ichigaje, they have to prepare it after before 2 days before the event. What I learned also, and what she explained to me, is that ichigaje is considered as the sign of showing togetherness and people coming together and sharing drinks. Ichigaje was purposely made for sale, because that woman explained to me that she could get money from it and take her children to school, selling that chigaje, and also they could use chigaje drinking in different events. But she said some people consider chigaje as a drink for the poor people, but the other cultures consider it as the drink which is having much vitamins because of the materials which are used to prepare ichigaje. What I can say about it is that ichigaje is normally consumed in some places where there's in some villages, where but in the cities people do not consider ichigaje much. However, there's some places where you can go and find it in the city, but it is not common there. So that's what Ange explained to me about ichigaje and how they take ichigaje in their society. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Ephraim and Jamane, for sharing the findings about the field research you did. For me, I did also a field research on milk. However, I was more concerned about fresh milk and milking, the process of getting milk. So I did a research in two ways to collect information. I had first to observe. I went to the farm where there were people having cows. Then I first stand there and I observed to see how the process of the way they are milking, the way how they are taking milk, in which where they are they putting the milk. So what I realized, I saw that people, while going to milk the cow, they have some strings where they put on the legs, so that maybe the cows may not
Move around.
move around, so that may stay in one position.
Yeah.
Another thing that I saw, they have some wooden things that they use. So they are called ingongoro in Kinyarwanda. They are wooden, something like where they use to milk, and also once it is full, they have another tank. It is like some
bucket
where
Yeah.
they pour the milk.
Yeah.
Another thing that I saw while watching, I saw that while someone is milking the cow, there is someone else helping to take the milk and also to look after those kids around me. I can call them.
Yeah.
After observing and seeing what they were doing, I approached the man who was milking and I asked him, if there are some skills that are required for someone to milk the cow, and also I was asking him the importance and the rituals attached to milk. He first explained to me that there are no skills that are required for milking the cow, but you need more practice so that you can, and you don't need to have fear while approaching the cows, because most of people do fear to get near the cows.
Yeah.
For the rituals and importance of the milk, he told me that he can't live at home without having milk, and also the most important thing is children can suffer while they don't have milk at home. Another thing is they can't have milk for sale. That milk is for their own, to help babies to grow, and also have milk to give the guests who visit them.
Yeah.
So I also asked him about other importance of milk. Then he told me that while at home they don't have milk, then they are suffering a lot. They are not in good life. But when they have milk, it is a good sign for prosperity and wealth. And also milk is used to share so that they can enhance the unity and togetherness at home. So I found that milk is very important for Rwandans, and also milking has a great importance for them. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Patrick, for sharing with us your findings as well as a frame. So I think we can jump on the last topic, which is commonalities and differences, about 9 cultures that we came across making research about them. So I think now we can just, someone who has something that according to what he has been hearing, according to what everyone came to say, I think someone who has things which are common and different among cultures that we have analyzed can just share with us and keep discussion.
Yeah, if I can just start. After getting your findings from the menus, from the field research you made, I realized that there are some similarities and of course differences. I will start by similarities. The first similarity that I realized is that there are different food that are used for togetherness and unity while they are sharing them. An example is, I talked about Hawaiian poi, which is used to share and increase the togetherness of the people.
Yeah.
Which was talked also by rice. One of you talked about rice, where they use rice while sharing and increasing togetherness. Another thing I talked about, I did a research about milk, and I realized that milk was a sign of prosperity and wealth, as Monet also talked about it, and milk was not for sale. Me too, I found that in my findings, as you found the result about milk was not about for sale.
Yeah, thank you.
For me, the smell that I can see is that all of the food that they were sharing by that time, it was just show people that they consider and they value the beliefs or what they perceive their ancestors, what they lived with. When I take my football tailgate game in America, and I consider Ichigaje, what they were considering Ichigaje, how the milk was taking, as well as what Patrick was telling us, I can see that all of that food were brought by the ancestors, and the people still now they are still using it to show that they still have that beliefs.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I think um, most three common things about um, cultures you have just came across them, and I think I would like to talk about the difference. And what I found as a difference is that they are like we were discussing about food and their values, their symbols, and rituals as well as traditions associated to them in the culture. So I think that I did analyze the things that we talked about, and I found that there are food which were divided and other ones which were meat or fishes, rabbits, and other things which are not cultivated. For instance, in different cultures, like in what I came to say, like in Pennsylvania, we realized that poor people used to eat, to be creative, in order to find grasses to eat, like asparagus and other kind of grasses. And while in um, also football, tailgating, they use also food like meat and I don't know, fishes. So I think that it can be also a difference.
Yeah. The other difference that I can remember is, as you found on your research, it is that milk is there not for sale. People could come and share milk without even having a cow. But for my side of Ichigaji was prepared purposely for selling and get money to cater for someone's needs. Yeah, that's what I can say, the difference.
There is something, there is another difference that I realized. You were talking about uh, tailgating, about where we find some food that are for rich people, others for poor people.
Yeah.
For Gumbis were for the rich people, while in other community like in Japan, Japanese rice was not for either for rich or poor people. It was for the whole community.
Yeah, another thing that I realized is that, like, the common thing is some foods, while they are in different cultures, they do have the same symbols. Like in Japanese rice is when you have rice, you show like you're rich and you're wealthy as well as prosperous. Why also in Hindu wedding culture they use coconut to wish to the married couple the prosperity. So I think that can be also the common thing. Also milk in Rwandan culture means that you have cows and you are prosperous as well as wealthy. So I think that also can be the common thing. So I think now we can stop by here, and I really thank you all for your your attention, your participation, and your thoughts about the discussion that we came to do. And really, this meeting was very interesting. And as like I can make a summary, as we started by defining anthropology terms, we came across menus about different cultures that we did make a research about, and we also talked about field researches, and also we come across commonalities and differences of cultures that we did make a research about. So I think that we can just stop by here, and really this was amazing and exciting to be with you discussing more about significance of food in different cultures. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, friend.
Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick.